Okay, Friday morning update on what's going on with the weather across New England. We've still got major flooding in parts of southern New England at the Pawtuxet and Neponset River. Also, some significant minor to moderate flooding still going on through the Merrimack Valley. Over the next couple of days, you still got to be considering that the rivers have not totally gone down yet, and you still have to treat them with concern over the next, I'd say, couple of weeks, really. Of course, a lot going on with the warmth that's expected today across a lot of New England, and I've been hesitant bringing in too much warmth, especially near the coast, because what's happening is we have high pressure off Cape Cod, and that's cooling. That's a cooling wind with an easterly wind. So what happens is, although you're very warm inland, you got 80s going on inland for a lot of the eastern U.S., Ohio Valley. You've got 40s, 40, 45 out on Cape Cod, okay, based on what we're seeing. So I think it's going to be a very nice day for most of New England, 60s for most of us, then 70s the further north and west you go, 80s through parts of upstate New York, and then along the coast you could be in the 50s and 60s, and don't expect too much nice conditions along the coast, at least because I'd say the conditions should be nice, but they probably won't be summer-like. They may be summer-like further north and west you go around the Champlain Valley, however. Let's take a look at what we're expecting to be going on for tomorrow, and you can see what's happening is we kind of have a cold front that's coming through parts of the Midwest, and let's take a look at that on the precipitation plot. You can see there it is coming through, some precipitation. I'll have more on that later, but what you can see is happening is we've got cooler air behind it for Saturday for a lot of these areas, but then what's happening is we also have some warm air getting pushed ahead in front of it. So I think for Saturday it's a better bet that most of New England should be, I'd say, in the 60s and then 70s once again the further north you go. Maybe 80s, not impossible for a lot of Vermont. Once again, 80s upstate New York, guys. So I'll be posting some temperature maps and maybe this morning's blog post later on, I hope. And by the time we get to Sunday, we're gonna have some bigger concerns with that cold front coming through. And here you can see for Sunday, we're actually gonna be pretty nice along the coastline. We should be in the 80s. Why not say 80s, but 70s, probably along the coastline. But then it's the northern west areas, through parts of like the Champlain Valley that were very warm for today and Saturday, and will be actually not so nice for Sunday, with temps in the 50s and 60s, while we'll be in the 70s for coastal eastern New England on Sunday. Why? Because the front is coming through. Here you can see the front is not bringing any precip going. Here's the precipitation coming through on Saturday, but by Saturday night it's really just dying off, and not too much, maybe a few showers associated with this during the day on Sunday, but that should just be about it. Alright guys, and by the time we get to beyond Sunday, we're going to be seeing some changes occurring in our weather. And let's take a look at the map for surface temperatures, and you can see for Monday what's happening is, let's take you out to Monday, and we do have some pretty good warmth that's spreading through New England, 60s and 70s for most of us, a little cooler along the coastline, but your real 80, upper 70s, 80-degree warmth, that's kind of in the southern United States. The other thing that's happening is by the time we get to Tuesday, we've got some Arctic oscillation that's going on, AO. And what happens with Arctic oscillation, it's very positive, and what Arctic oscillation is essentially up near the Arctic Circle. We usually have two very dependable and predictable high and low pressure systems. They're usually very strong and keep the cold air during the summer, spring, and fall months up in the Arctic. However, when one of them or both of them weakens, then the cold air just seeps in between them. We're going to see that happen for Tuesday, and cold air is going to be spreading across Canada. However, that's Canada. Wouldn't that spare New England? Yes. However, we're going to have also another low-pressure center around New Brunswick. That's going to pull that cold air from Canada south, which means for Tuesday, most of New England won't warm up beyond the 50s. We may see some 60s in parts of Maine, where we actually have a warming easterly wind due to the Bermuda high that's building in the Bermuda in advance of the hurricane season already. Okay, for Wednesday, what's going to be happening is, although we should see another day with nice warm temps spreading into New England, especially further west you go, maybe some 80s returning to New England on Wednesday, the concern then becomes the possibly precipitation, possibly a storm. I'm not saying there'll be a storm, but I'm saying that the chances are good, and also the chances are good that my dog is barking at something that it doesn't really need to be barking at this point. But that's what I get for having a dog. Anyway, let's go out for the time periods. You can see Tuesday, Wednesday, we're seeing a new storm developing on the upper Midwest. And then for Wednesday afternoon, that moves out, but some leftover energy gets left behind further south. Then, I'm kind of speaking at a weird pace, but anyway, what happens is that leftover energy develops into a new front, develops with a lot of precip to that front, and it's pulling in Gulf of Mexico moisture, and then we do get some severe weather developing earlier in the day on Thursday. And then again, for Thursday, look what happens. We see the new storm spreading up into New England, and it's actually pulling in quite a bit of cold air, surprisingly. We've got the 540 line coming all the way down to Atlanta, so Atlanta might now have its last frost or freeze of the season when this comes through. When the cold air behind it comes through, will there be snow? Well, kind of. I mean, it's just, it's a question. At this point, it looks like it should be rain coming through the day on Friday, around a week out. And then what happens is the 540 line, which is approximately the rain-snow line, is kind of dampening in and out with the precip. So we'll have to see. Probably going to get at least a storm going next Friday. Here you can see, but whether or not we actually see precipitation getting cranked out of it, that remains to be seen. Okay, I mean, of course we'll see whether or not we see snow, that remains to be seen. It's all part of the ever-changing, ever-rotating, changing cycle of weather, and I'll keep you updated on every rotation. See you guys later. It's Nick for the NewEnglandWeatherLife.ning.com.